Now, we would obviously just do a data scrape of what I think the target should be and then what triggers they should be. So whether they are what their company financials are, is their job growth in their department size, have they gone up or down in that sector? Who were they with previously? What factors do we know? Can we also run disc profiling on what those personas are, and then against our best win and loss to then make the personas what would be the best fit for us, so that we're not wasting our time. So I started talking about that as in what I call top-down targeting, because if we don't get all of those factors right, when we make that, we're just wasting our time. So with those known factors, that should put you well placed to be able to only be focusing on the ones that should be in market. But what we're doing different is, I know that we talked a little bit offline, is I'm also trying to find triggers of the B2C data of who are those personas, what do they do, what do they like, but where do they, the best part of this is what I'm talking about in commercial access gates, is where do multiples of those personas also exist, because they have to either one, work somewhere, two, hang out somewhere, or three, they're in an association somewhere, right? So if you're selling into a CTO, a CFO, or a HR manager for an employee benefit, they are also highly prevalent from B2C data somewhere else and with all these known factors. So instead of selling to one company to get 50 seats, we are selling to maybe one person for access to 50 of those management job titles to get 50 of 50 seats, if that makes sense. So that's probably where we take it a little bit further. I thought it was, as I've said multiple times, and people spear me for this, I thought it was pretty obvious to try to work out where multiples of those personas would exist by running B2C data that way while you're running B2B data that way, and then putting them together. Instead of having to hard sell from A to B, you then have the opportunity to sell to multiples of multiples, whether that's in communities, whether that's in multiple associations, whether they're in other places. We can find that through running it in both directions, and then you only really need permission to sell to multiples of multiples all of the time. So if you're doing it that way, I also coined that is also a non-abrasive selling technique, because with all of those known factors, they should be in market for what you need to solve their problem to get them to the dream state. And most chances, there'll be multiples of those people within those groups of people where that exists, where you've got more chances to do multiplications, which I've basically coined growth by magnification.